Next, cell link. That's where exactly do you want this to appear, the position number. So I click on this and the cell link is in place. Now, once you click on the drop down button over here, how many items do you want to see or lines do you want to see at a first glance? By default, it's set to 8. I can also change this to 10. Let me show you what happens now. I click OK, click aside. Now here we have 10 states at the first glance. Next, we can click here and scroll down, or we can select any of those. For example, I select Ohio. Now if you notice Ohio, next to it we see 36. That's Ohio is 36th in the list. Here it is. You see, count of 36 right from the first state till Ohio. That means Ohio is 36 in the list. So we have the position number. Okay, so here for payment options, we are getting a position number, and again over here we are getting the position number. Now let's have some background color for this section. Here I'll go there and select some background, maybe dark background. How about a dark one? Or this should be fine. Yep, this looks good. Now we can see that based on whatever we select here, the values will keep on changing. We have for the loan period and so on. But now we have this particular section to be done. And where did that part go where we had already had the linked cells? Well, we do have them over here as well. It's just that it was hidden. So I select these two columns and right click, unhide. So the values are still here. It's just that I had hidden them. And so all you see is the controls and its impact on the table here. Now I'll copy this and paste it here, expand this, and I would clear this out so that we can prepare it from scratch. For you, this will be readily available, so not an issue with that. Now loan amount. Loan amount, we could have directly linked it over here, but as a matter of maintaining uniformity, we would just link it to this cell. That's fine. This control could have directly linked to this cell as well. That was fine, but I just don't want any control to be directly affecting this result here. Hence, we have it here. Now, similarly, we have loan period linked to this. Now here it's 5 years. If you don't see the word years, click Ctrl 1 or Ctrl exclamation on your keyboard. You come to this format cells. If you fail to reach here, click on this. Now go to custom. Here select 0 and then space in double quotes type years, double quotes, close. And here you have any number that you enter, it will be followed with the word years. Now the interest rate. We know that this value is in the form of basis points, and 600 basis points means 6%. If I take this value and click on 600, by default it's taking as 600. It should show as 6%. Now if I click on percentage sign, well, it's showing as 60,000. That's grossly incorrect. So I need to divide it by 10,000. And here we have 6%. Get some decimals. Now take a look. If I change this to 6.05%, 610 basis points is nothing but 6.1%, and so on. For now, let's keep this at 6% for ease of calculation. Payment option. Now here's the interesting part. Payment option. It's positioned at number 5, but I cannot use any of these controls to get the desired result. So hence we have it in a separate tab over here, or a worksheet in this list. Again, they are arranged in exactly the same order as this. So I say index. We can also use VLOOKUP. That's absolutely fine. You can also use the offset function, but I think index function makes my job a lot easier and convenient. So I use an index array where you are looking for. I select this range, comma. Now, which column or row number are you looking? Which row number are you looking for? It's this, the position number. Okay. Now, since we had switched between worksheets, the sheet 1 has cropped up over here. So even if you don't have this, that's absolutely fine because it's the same worksheet that we are working on. So you can leave it as it is or delete it. But ensure that if it is deleted, the understanding is that G9 that you're pointing to belongs to the same worksheet where you have the formula. So here sheet 2, if you remove this exclamation in sheet 2, it will assume that F3 to F9 belongs to this current worksheet. So ensure that you don't recklessly delete anything else. Close the bracket. And here we have annual. Now let's test it out. I click on quarterly. The position is 3 and it's quarterly. Bi-monthly, bi-monthly. So for now, let's keep it annual. Now state. Again, we'll use the same index function. Now the arrow, the array. So here we have the list of states. I select this, comma, the position number, close the bracket, hit enter. Here we have this. It's syncing because the range in which it has been selected, okay, we need to ensure that the selection range is accurate. For this drop down, we had selected the exact same range. And again, for the index function, we have used the exact same range. It would really be inconvenient and troublesome if in one selection you include the heading and in the other selection you do not include the heading, or in case if you miss on selecting one of either the start cell or the end cell. Ensure you maintain the uniformity. South Carolina. Expand this. Now state charges. We can again use a VLOOKUP, or still I can also use the index function. Or if you want to play safe, you can also use a VLOOKUP. Let's test out different functions that we have. Lookup for South Carolina in table array. That's this table. Select this entire table, comma. Next, it asks for column index number. Well, in case if you find South Carolina, which corresponding column value do you want from the selection? Of the 2 columns selected, I need the second column value, comma. Range lookup should be exact match. Close the bracket. And here we have this. South Carolina at 0.5. Now let's look for an exception. New York is 1.25. Mississippi is 1%. Let's test it out. New York 1.25, yes. And Mississippi is 1%. Perfect. Let's go back to Ohio or Hawaii. That sounds interesting. And Hawaii has really low rates. Now charges on loan, that's loan amount multiplied by the state charges. So that's the charges on loans. Okay, it's just $75. Now number of installments per year, in order to determine this, how many years am I? Now in order to determine the number of installments per year, I can again either use a VLOOKUP or index function. So let's try with index. Now that's pretty easy for me. Select the array. Ensure that this is in same order as you had it. Ensure that you have it in the same order as you had it with the radio buttons, option buttons. So I select this array. Now next it's asking for row number. I come back to sheet 1 and this is the row number. The sheet 1 I can get rid of. It's optional. Or I can leave it as it is. That's still fine. Close the bracket. And here we have. So if you're making an annual payment, every year you will only pay once in a year. But if you're making a quarterly payment, that means 4 times in a year. And if you're making a bi-monthly, It's 6 times in a year. That's once in 2 years, once in 2 months. That's the one.